Alright guys, we got another special thematic battle here. The Foul Hordes of Khorne versus Nurgles Unclean themselves. Papa Nurgle with a giant host of Chaos Warriors. We got myself running primarily a demon army here. A lot of Bloodletters of Khorne. You'll notice that they are an anti-infantry. They do a lot of damage and they're frenzy as well. But they are demons, so they suffer kind of from the same mechanic that Undead have. They've got that crumble mechanic. And if you guys are wondering what mod this is, just to kind of jump in here, this is the Ultimate Chaos mod on the Valley of Khorne map. So we've got some Bloodletters of Khorne. These are going to be the primary units in my army. You can see they're pretty sick, pretty awesome. Kind of like souped up beastmen here, down with that look. Got the typical crimson and brass of Khorne with some sweet flamebergs, or burge, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Then we've also got some cultists with pole arms. These guys are really going to help me out here because they do have anti-large and armor piercing. The Nurgle force is going to have a lot of Chaos Warriors that are going to be very durable and very stocky, and these cultists are really going to help me out. They're pretty cheap, so I pumped them up to silver chevrons because these Bloodletters themselves actually cost 2,000 resources, or 2,000 gold, whatever you want to call it, funds as it is. And then we've got, well, I'll get to Bloodthirster in a sec. Well, I've got the Cult Grandmaster here, and I want the Cult Grandmaster to be able to heal my demons. He can also summon more Bloodletters, but it seems like that aspect of this caster itself is broken. So this really gives the demons a little bit more longevity in their fight. With the anti-infantry mechanic and no AP, they're not going to be as strong against Nurgle's Chaos Warriors, but it's going to help a lot with any of their cultists or their cannons, anything like that. Then we've got the Big Daddy Bloodthirster. Like, look at this guy, man. Ooh, all sorts of mad with his. Look at the, that's one thing I always hate about goats. Look at their eyes. Their eyes are terrifying, just like slits in them, like little boxes. No wonder they look like demons. Either way, we got the armor-piercing badass himself. He's a damage dealer. He's got anti-large. He's got anti-infantry. He's got a whopping 625 weapon strength, and that's without modifications. He's got some pretty sick abilities. He's got Kill, Maim, Burn, which is going to increase his weapon strength by 50%. He's got some frenzy mechanics that also increases weapon strength even more. He can tap out to about 1k plus weapon strength, so he's going to be able to do a shit ton of damage per swing. And on top of it, he's got an 80 run speed, so he's going to be moving quite quick on his own, even with these little... the mod is interesting because they kind of used... what's his name? The Dark Omen, the Beastman Lord, and pretty much reskinned him. But in the lore, these are actually bat wings, giant bat wings. And the Bloodthirster himself has either like a giant great weapon or a giant axe with a whip. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can configure the Bloodletter now, or Bloodthirster now. It was a bit different way back, but that concludes my army here. My ally, as you've... Oh, look at this. Right in the center of the map there. As you've probably concluded, is the mighty Turin. And he's got some Knights of Khorne, which are a pretty stalwart perpetual cavalry force. I really like the way that they are in this. They've got frenzy and they've got anti-infantry. And with silver shields, they're no slouches. You know, they've got some pretty good defense. They're going to be able to stay in the fight a long time. I'm a huge fan of them. We've also got some more cultists with pole arms. I kind of copied his idea here. But the big thing in Turin's army that's going to be very good and very unique and very helpful are these awesome Forsaken Giants. Look at them. It's all armored out, mutating, all sorts of badassery, giant fucking axes. I really like these models. Really cool choice for the mod. I like that a lot. Kind of plays off these Skull Takers of Khorne here, which are going to be pretty sweet as well. Endless Frenzy, Unbreakable, Anti-Large, Anti-Infantry, got Armor Piercing as well. So these guys are going to do a shit ton of damage as well. But then we just have the basic Warriors of Khorne. Huge fan of these units as well. I really like it the way the mod did every single god-specific unit. Very reminiscent to the way you would expect them to be in tabletop, minus the fact that I'm pretty sure that's the Night Lord symbol. But, you know, hey, that's neither here nor there. Awesome shields and everything, but these guys are going to be anti-infantry, good frenzy. They do have silver shields as well, though, so that they'll be pretty tanky. Going to be staying there for the long fight. But I'm really excited to kind of see how this plays out and show you guys what happens here. Oh, and we do have a really cool unit here, the Chaos Lord of Khorne. It looks all sorts of sick, covered in skulls, no breastplate on because Khorne doesn't need that kind of shit. Also has the Kill, Maim, Burn, and he already has 560 weapon strength, so he's going to be doing a crap ton of damage as well with this sweet looking axe. He's also got a champion as well. The champion of Khorne looking all fiery and destructive. He's going to have anti-infantry as well, but he's going to be able to be pretty tanky and represent an additional leadership bonus for the army. But let's just kind of get things going here. We got the Bloodthirster himself just charging across the gap here, looking to get pretty hot and heavy in there. We can see that our opponent's already starting to. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit because it is quite a large map. We want to make sure we get into the thick of it. They've got some cannons back here that are going to start doing some work. As we can see, these plague cannons, nice way to add an artillery mechanic outside of the hell cannon to the chaos, or Nurgle in specific. But we did try to snipe out his Chaos Sorcerer of Death, which is actually the Chaos Sorcerer of Nurgle. That has the Nurgle lore, which is pretty awesome. We'll see a lot of that coming up here. He's got a lovely Chaos Lord, and just quite a bit of Chaos Warriors of Nurgle as well. And one of my favorite units here, the Plague Reapers of Nurgle. Look at these little guys, just trolling about, just smelling like shit. Oh god, you know they just smell like dumpsters. And the Plague Reapers, which are really sick. These guys have anti-armor. They're kind of like the Skull Takers, but they're just a lot more tanky. They can really hold down and take a lot of damage, and they have poison attacks as well. So they're going to be able to do. They're going to be a pretty fierce opponent. But we got the hot gates lining up here. We got our enemy kind of pouring in here. Speeding this up a little bit more. Look at that. Look at all these. Look at all these pus-filled, pestilent bastards. Ugh. How can you trust Papa Nurgle? I know I can't. We'll jump over here to turn real quick. Oh, right into the center of the map again. Sorry, this new camera's kind of tricking me ever so often. But the burning toes of the champion of Khorne as he runs amok. Another set of hot gates opening up here. Another glorious battle that's going to be waged all over the bridge here. And sorry if we do get a little bit of FPS drop. We are dealing with quite a massive force here. All armies are set on ultra funds, so it's going to be quite the glorious endeavor. But look at that guy, just going for that sorcerer ass. Look at him, just no regard for anything. The linebacker of Khorne going in for it, and you can see the Nurgle guy looking pretty sick. Oh, look at that giant thrust of the axe, or chop of the axe coming down. Oh, and a swing and a miss. That's strike 2 for the Khorne Bloodthirster. Let's see how he pans out in the next one, Bob. But I actually do think he made contact. But that's one thing I will say is the pathing on the Bloodthirster is a little wonky. But we don't want him to get all caught up in this in these warriors here. So let's bring him on back. Let's bring him on back into the horns and hooves of my army. With their little look at the little brass shoes. Going to the chapel and we're gonna be bloodthirsters. Got the cannon starting to open up here. Right on my forces. Belching out those pustulent cannonballs, all hot and heavy. This map doesn't seem to like double clicking. Kind of starting to pick off at my cultists with pole arms here. But he's got some chaff in the front, right? Some Nurgles afflicted that are just going to be marching headlong into the woeful spears and swords of the Bloodletters. Let's get that coming in. Let's get that coming in. Get a little more cinematic on this. Oop. Yes. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at them. Just cutting and a chopping and a cutting and a chopping. Nurgle afflicted, getting hit by some of their own cannonballs, getting launched all over the place. Bloodletters getting in here with their glowing swords of doom, doing their deadly attacks. The tabletop is really important to know that these guys are really, really, really fierce in close combat. Demons can be summoned at any point in the battlefield, so when you summon them out, unless you're a high elf player with the Banner of the World Dragon, demons are quite terrifying. They have ward saves, so they almost always can roll a save against whatever you're attacking them with. They can really bring a lot of damage to the fore, so it's really cool to see them having like an anti-infantry mechanic where they're literally going to act like buzzsaws, as you can see, on these Nurgle afflicted. Oh, Blades of Putrefaction. Look at that. Oh, it's going up to normal speed here. Oh, right as this little guy just kind of gets it. Later, guy. More cannonballs being fired into the fray here. The Bloodthirster just not caring at all for anything. But now we're bringing in those cultists on these Warriors of Nurgle. That AP is really going to help out here. Unfortunately, with just the way this fight was set up, I didn't want... Oh, look at that fucking huge explosion. Did quite a bit of damage to his Warriors of Nurgle as well. Oh, look at that. Got Nurgle's boils going off and minus 20% damage resistance. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. The first big Nurgle spell. Let's see how it goes. Really decked out a ton of his units. It's just decked and dicked them. But we got the Bloodthirster going for his first target, his first prey. And he's popped, as you can see, heroic... Let's go, let's slow that down so we can see it. Heroic killing blow. Kill, maim, burn. Just everything going off on him. He's going to have those fire damage abilities, so it's going to knock out the regeneration of the Chaos Lord as well. Go for it, Bloodthirster. Kill him. Do it. Like I said, Bloodthirster does have a bit of a pathing issue, but he also doesn't give a fuck about any unit in front of him. He will kick them all up and around this piece. We got our Cult Grandmaster tossing off some heals here and there. Boom. Knocking him over. As you can see, things are kind of going pretty hairy over here. Let's go take a look at how Turin's sizing up with his enemy. Got a good amount of hot gates going. Oh, just in time for Nurgle's Rod Explosion, or whatever it's called. That's going to do a ton of damage. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Ton of damage to those Warriors of Khorne. Almost completely KO'd by that one spell alone. Really does a ton of damage. Nurgle really is a hard counter to Khorne in this mod. They're really going to have a hard time here. But hopefully, uh-oh, uh-oh. Boom! More Warriors of Khorne just getting decked and dicked, as I like to say. But those Forsaken Giants are really going to take a huge toll on his army. I don't think there's going to be much anti-large. Those Plague Reapers, I think, are anti-large. Yeah, anti-large on the Plague Reapers. They don't have many anti-large outside of that, so it's really going to be advantageous to Turin's force to really be able to bring those Forsaken Giants to bear and help negate a lot of the hard counters that Nurgle has for Khorne. Oh, right into the hell pits here. My army really not doing that well, but the Bloodthirster is running amok, just charging through everything, trying to get that champion ass, like pathfinding, just running all sorts of yakety sacks, all over the place on things. The Cult Grandmaster still popping off some heals, cannonballs shooting all over the place. The Bloodthirster, in a pure act of wanton destruction, knocks everyone amidst the battlefield. Another one of my units getting wiped out. As I've said, though, those Bloodthirsters letters, are not going to be doing too well. But the replenishment from Demonic Invigoration should help keep them in the fray a little bit longer. But they're pretty well surrounded and getting beaten down. But you can see, though, the Bloodthirster really is able to bring a lot of damage to the fore, knocking his Chaos Lord of Nurgle down in only a couple hits, to be totally honest. Most of the pathing issues negate a lot of the hits being dealt out. But let's see that, 1200, oh, that's a 300 hit point hit right there alone. Taking cannonballs in the face, the Bloodthirster doesn't give a damn. He swipes, he jumps, he stomps, he does whatever he can. Which was not intended to rhyme as well as it did. Let's get a little more cinematic action in there. See, just cannonballs going amok. Doesn't care about anything, knocking things over, hooving them down. Oh, right in the hip. That's going to be a replacement, Bob. We'll see how it pans out in the third quarter. But the Chaos Lord of Nurgle is already shattered, and the Bloodthirster has suffered damn near no damage. As you can see, still at 9,200 health. Let's see if he, see how he, oh, more cannonballs. Going right for him. Going right for him. Just thwacking that guy around. Cannonballs to the hooves, cannonballs to the wings, cannonballs to the face. They're all over the place. Let's pop back on over to Turin's land, see how things are going here. Looks like he might be having a little bit of similar issues with only having his monstrous units being the real MVPs here. Ooh, some hard FPS dropping here and there. Sorry again. Looks like his cultists with polearms are really kind of holding their own, really taking out a lot of those Warriors of Nurgle. But for the most part, his foot army seems to be pretty well decimated here. But those Forsaken Giants really doing a heavy amount of damage here. Still got his champion up in good health. Half health on his Chaos Lord. That's not going to be too good if things kind of get dicey there. But he still has his knights as well, so things aren't looking too bad. The balance of power has definitely shifted a little bit more in our opponent's favor, and that's not too great. That is not too great indeed. Let's see though how what more tricks do we have up our sleeves? See how the grand Bloodthirster chase goes. Really, you can tell at this point, majority of my army has completely routed, minus the Cult Grandmaster and these cultists. It looks like the remaining Nurgle forces are coming down to collapse on Turin's line to do some damage, but all is not completely lost, as the might of the Bloodthirster still reigns supreme. A Chaos Champion, or Chaos Lord, will not go down. He does have health regen though, so as you can see, his health is slowly coming back, but decided to go for the hard target here and knock out some of these Plague Cannons, kind of get them out of the fight. Although they're not doing a ton of damage, if they were to get onto the Forsaken Giants, I can imagine them doing quite a bit of damage. So let's get them out of the fight now, here and now. One thing to note, the reason I haven't suffered army losses is because the Bloodthirster costs a whole 6,000 funds. So he's a good majority of my army investiture as is. I think he's like 40% of it. So I'm still widely considered in the fight on a points investment alone. And as you can see, the Bloodthirster is no slouch in that department. Still at 8,800 health. He is just bringing the line. Ooh, look at that fury. And the Plate Cannon's only manned by cultists, so they're pretty easy to deal with here. You can see just every single buck of his horns and hooves, dealing tons and tons of just exploding them in half. Tons and tons of damage here. One Plate Cannon already routing off the battlefield, and the other one just starting to rout as well. And ooh, some Nurgle's Afflicted coming at us. And you can see his lord goes to join the rest of his army at his slowly regenerating health. The Cult Grandmaster starting to move up here. But let's again go check out Turin's army. Ooh, things are looking pretty dicey over here. The Forsaken Giants though are really just in time to watch my ally's lord fall. Turin's Chaos Lord of Khorne felled to the mighty Plague Reapers of Nurgle. But one whole Forsaken Giant in a full health here is pretty huge. But his Chaos Sorcerer of Death is really going to really do a lot of damage once his Winds of Magic gets back up to a pretty conceivable number here. But everything's starting to really collapse in on these giants. Things aren't looking too good though. Things are not looking too good at all. Let's get some fast forwarding going on here, because it looks like there's a little bit of a stalemate going. But the Bloodthirster though thirsts for blood. We've got my Cult Grandmaster trying to finish off this Lord of Nurgle, brought him down to another 500 health here. But you must rally to your allies' aid at times, bring the might of the Bloodthirster through thick and thicket. Get him up there. Now here's a real fun part of the Bloodthirster's mechanic is, again, his just inability to give a shit about any other unit in the game. And we'll really kind of see here as he just hacks apart units, as he just kind of trolls through them. Oh yes. Do that thing that you do, Bloodthirster. Oh yeah, all sorts of good. All sorts of good on that. Coming up in here, trying to knock out that Sorcerer of Nurgle, get him done and over with. Popping some of the big things here. Heroic Blow, Stand or Die, increases his leadership and his defense. Kill, Maim, Burn. Coming in for him, coming in for him, coming in for him. Gonna have to slam him down hard and fast. Oh, and that juke! Play-by-play, Bobby almost had him in the end zone, and he juked right out of it. That's a safety that the Bloodthirster's not soon gonna not regret, but not soon gonna forget. Hard juke there on that Sorcerer of Nurgle as the Bloodthirster goes in for the kill. Swooping and a miss again. Juke number dose. Goes headlong into him. A foolish endeavor as the Bloodthirster goes in for the kill. But again, we'll see how the glory of the pathfinding shall be dealt with this day. And we've kind of consolidated all of the action here into one area. One Forsaken Giant really has a lot of damage sustained on him. The cultists with polearms, though, are kind of rallying back and trying to form a battle line, while I kind of do some defensive action here and deal with the brunt of our opponent's army, or what's left of it. As you can see, these little plague trolls kind of sneaking in here, hobbling back and forth, pus just seeking out of their tusks and mouth. In the tabletop, they do have an acid breath ability, so that's pretty awesome. I'm not seeing it in the mod, but I've not really taken a look at the chaos trolls themselves, or I'm sorry, those trolls themselves, the plague bearers. I'm sorry, I was talking about the chaos troll have acid breath. These are plague bearers, which do not have acid breath, but they do have a breath ability, I believe. If someone's played Nurgle a lot and knows more about plague bearers than myself, please comment, let me know, because I have played predominantly Khorne in the tabletop. They're my kind of go-to army when it comes to chaos, at least. All right, things kind of getting hairy here. Still got a lot of leadership though, and Turin's side, things are really starting to kind of shift. If you've noticed, the balance of power has gone back to 50%. Things are not completely lost. We do have 3 very large units able to dole out tons of damage and tons of damage. Look at that. Look at all those lovely kills being dealt out here and there and there and here. Oof. Everyone just covered from head to toe in gore. It's hard to tell who's not painted like Khorne anymore, since everyone's just covered in head to toe with all that blood. But you can still see our opponent has quite the sizable army marching up from the Badlands, also covered in gore. Let's see what happens here, though. How does this play out? We will fast forward just a little bit here, not too much. Just want to kind of get some action going here, get everything kind of into the center of the fray. We do have his champion of Khorne is finally broken after a stalwart holding of the ground. One of the Forsaken Giants, I believe, has, yeah, there it is, has fled away, but is coming back. And you can see, though, the Bloodthirster is really tanking all of this. Like, you're looking at his health, okay, it just dropped by 20. 19 even, actually. So, I mean, he's really not taking much damage. He doesn't actually have a ton of melee defense, but he's got a crap ton of a ward save. Like, I believe, where is it? Oh, that's just bugging out now, isn't it? He does have disintegrating, like I was saying. He's got the crumble mechanic that undead have. There it is. No. 30% ward save, and I think he's got a damage resistance buff. He's got a 50% missile resistance buff. So he's got quite a bit of defense for having such a low melee defense. And his melee defense can be buffed as well with his abilities. But this, look at this mighty beast, this Forsaken Giant, doing its all to really kind of hold the line for Turin here, getting completely overrun with tons of not plague marines, but plague reapers and chaos knights. Goes for another run for it, just right under the foothills. Later, bye. But look at that heaving Bloodthirster, still not caring, still not giving any shits, still at pretty much full health for the most part. The other Forsaken Giant really starting to lose a lot of health here. Fast forward this a little bit more again, but we can see that we're really taking a pretty slow, systematic toll on his army. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The last charge of the Forsaken Giant. Oh, just look at that. Look how he just leaps and cleaves through tons and tons of units, knocking everything down, chopping limbs off. Horns are flying all over the place because chaos is nothing if it's not filled with horns everywhere. Oh, look at that. Just bulldozing through it. Like, excuse me, on my way to the bread and breakfast. Is this way to the gym? Ooh. And he might now be fully routing at this point. Let's take a look. Completely shattered. Routing. Probably off the map at this point. But things still going pretty hot and heavy for the Bloodthirster. Not at a bad health. A lot of their armies in tatters. They still do have a sizable amount of models, though. So it's the battle is far from decided, but it is slowly shifting in our favor, which is a good thing here. Fast forwarding this a little bit more again. We have some serious morale issues with the Forsaken Giant as this champion of Khorne has fallen. It has been felled as well. We have his, as you can see, his single Chaos Lord of Nurgle just surveying the damage being done, slowly regenerating health. But he has reached his cap, so he cannot regenerate any more health. Bloodthirster's still pretty much at full health here, though. And the rest of his army starting to really fall to tatters here. Fast forwarding that a little bit more. Everything converging on that last Forsaken Giant. That is going to be quite a toll for our balance of power, but with his army in its current state, it's not going to be too good for them. Oh yes, look at that. The mighty Bloodthirster still... Oh, dude, the double jump action. That was like a 90s ninja movie right there. Holy hot shit. Look at the carnage. Skulls for the Skull Throne. Blood for the Blood God. Not sure why Khorne followers sound somewhat British. But we do have a bit more of a rout going on here, knocking off the last of the Plague Bearers. The one model on each unit starting to fall to the wayside. What's left of the Forsaken Giant just holding on for dear life here. A little fast forward going on this as well. Still not much over here. This stuff's completely shattered now. Oh. But now I think it's time for a new target. Man, just really... Look at this. Oh. Really down to the wire here. I mean, really all turn I have left is the Forsaken Giant and the Bloodthirster. And you can see with the balance of power is creeping more and more and more in our favor. More units on his side routing, more units on our side not routing and living. But the Bloodthirster has his eyes on more keen prey. What's over here? What's in these lands? Oh, both the cannons have come back now completely. Still not at full strength, but there. And not caring again, the Bloodthirster goes in for the true kill of the day. Boom! If that thing had landed on the Bloodthirster, it would have done a crap ton of damage. No doubt about it. It might have been the one thing that probably tipped the battle against the Bloodthirster heavily. I'm not too sure on how it actually pans out. I've never been hit in the face with that with the Bloodthirster. But it would have been something that would definitely would have trash canned him. Oof. Things not going so well for the Chaos Lord of Nurgle. Oh yes, Bloodthirster. Take your prize. Take your skull. Or get distracted with the shitty units behind you. Why not? Yeah, just do it. Yep, Go for that Slam of Doom. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Look at that. Look at that just keen face on him. Covered from head to toe. No regard for anything. Khorne takes what Khorne wants. And Khorne wants this champion's head. As I try to get the camera in for the perfect cinematic shot. Oh, and there it is. A fell swipe of his axe. As he pushes the body with no regard for honor just through the woods to grandmother's house. And yeah, I knew that he didn't have any. He still had health. I wanted to fuck with you guys. So again, you can see that is some really wonky ass pathing on the Bloodthirster. Now he's just toying with his prey like a shark. Yes. He's just going for the slam. He doesn't really actually want to kill anything at this point. He just wants to kill more other things than the thing he's got to kill. And there it is. Still getting up. Well, it was a pretty damn close fight. Honestly, what really won it for us is going to be that Bloodthirster itself. 159 kills on that bad boy. He really brought it to the fore. But you can also see with the Bloodletters, they did quite a bit of damage, but majority of that was distributed to my direct opponent, was distributed to the Nurgle's Afflicted. They're just going to cut through them like chaff, like a hot knife through the hottest of butters, because each one of those units is around 120 unit strength. But the Warriors of Nurgle, you can see, did quite a bit of damage to my units, knocking a lot of my cultists down and out pretty fast. And his Plague Reapers didn't do as much, and the Plague Cannons didn't do as much as well. As a whole, Gobble King did a ton of his damage with the Nurgle Sorcerer, because those things do so much damage. You saw what it did when it knocked out a good chunk of his units, but it also knocked out a whole crap ton of mine. When we take a look at Black Iron here, you can see the Champion of Nurgle and the Chaos Lord did a really, really heavy amount of damage as well. But you really see a lot that was spread across the warriors here and the Plague Reapers. The Plague Reapers on Turin's side, oops, sorry, let's switch to Turin's army now too, we're definitely doing quite a bit of damage to his Skull Takers and warriors right off the gate, because they have that AP on them. They're going to be knocking them down pretty hot and heavy. And their warriors of Nurgle were probably knocking out their cultists very well, even though they do have, the cultists themselves have an AP aspect to them. But that champion of Khorne outlasted the Chaos Lord and really, really, really got his points worth, as well as these Forsaken Giants. Look at that, 209, 94. Just really bringing it to him, really, really putting it in Papa Nurgle's ass. But that's everything here, guys. We had a great matchup between Khorne and Nurgle. We do have another one planned for you that's going up with Slaanesh and Tzeentch. That one will be coming up here pretty soon. We do have, or I will be having a stream Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific. That's going to be pretty much my set in stone time for streaming. I haven't had one the past 2 weeks, but do feel free to join me for that. I'd love to have you guys there as I play through Total War Warhammer, talk about some lore with that, play through Vermintide if you guys so wish, and Dawn of War 3 if that's a hot meal ticket, as they say, boy. But that concludes today's cast. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Have a good one. Don't forget to subscribe, and also check out Turin's link, which will be in the end screen here, to his side on how he reported this battle as well, because we're both going to be casting at the same time. But have a good one, guys, and take care.